Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome for those of you who are new here. I'm Shelagh at Virtually Nutritious, and today's video is going to be about a fun nutrition topic that I think everybody is interested in, and that's that one word, calories. Now, people think calories might be these little fairies that come into our wardrobe in the middle of the night and shrink our clothes for us. Unfortunately, not necessarily the case. A calorie is actually just a unit of energy. More specifically, the calories we consume are actually called kilocalories, so they're more than an actual calorie. So some people think calories are bad. No, calories are great. You need them. They're energy. If you're going to burn energy, you need energy. So the next question I get all the time regarding calories, how many do I eat in a day? How many should I be eating in a day? So in order to determine how many you are eating in a day, food journaling is probably the best thing you can do. Reading the nutrition facts labels and measuring out your food, portioning it out according to the nutrition facts labels and the recommended serving size will give you the most accurate calorie total at the end of the day. With that being said, on the nutrition facts labels, you'll notice that at least in America, in our food system, no food is going to have calories that are not ending in a 5 or a 0. You'll never find something, or I should say, you will rarely find something that has 28 calories per serving. You would see something that has 30 or 25. So there is that added inconsistency. And foods are allowed to be accurate for their calorie content within 20 calories, either more or less. So it is kind of just a guesstimate. But with that being said, determining your calorie needs is an educated guesstimate, is what I like to call it. But yeah, food journaling is the best way to determine how many calories you're actually eating in a day and being honest in your food journals as well. Truly measuring out portion sizes and including things like your sauces, your condiments, beverages especially, what are you putting in your coffee, everything like that. Luckily, there's MyFitnessPal, and they have a lot of brand name items on their food log list, which makes it really easy because from brand to brand, the same food item can be very different in their calorie contents. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking for a good food journaling app that's super user-friendly, efficient, and can carry it on your phone, which you'll probably have with you 24/7 anyways. Check out MyFitnessPal. I'll link it in the bottom bar below. Question number 2 that I kind of addressed is, how many calories do I need in a day? How many calories do you need? Well, if I had a nickel for every time I was asked that question, I would be a multimillionaire by now, I'm sure. But that's determined by a lot of other things, something called anthropometrics, which is just a fancy scientific word for things like your height, your weight, age, all of that stuff. So your height, weight, age, gender play a huge role in determining what your baseline needs are, your resting metabolic rate. So if you were just to lay in bed all day, do nothing, which I'm sure none of you out there are doing, especially if you're watching a YouTube video on nutrition, you're probably at least getting up and moving around during your day. So that will determine your resting metabolic rate, just those calories needed to maintain yourself at total rest. Then you have to factor in things like your activity level. What do you do for work? Do you have a desk job? Are you a waitress? Are you an athletic trainer? All of these things are going to play into what your needs are. Obviously, if you're more active in your job, you're going to need more calories just to maintain yourself. If you're less active, you'll be closer to that resting metabolic rate. Also, do you have a health condition that might require more or less calories during the day? If you have something that we call a catabolic illness, something like cancer that might be metastasizing, that would require more energy because it's constantly using energy to rebuild. Pneumonia can actually also increase your needs because you're actively coughing all the time. And then there are things like, hypothyroidism, which lowers your nutrition needs. So the only way to determine how many calories you actually genuinely need in the day is through a process called indirect calorimetry. I'm not going to get into that because I can't do it unless you have some other type of equipment and all these other processes. It's not something I ever do. So I stick to the equations. My favorite to calculate needs is called the Mifflin-St. Jeor equation. I find it to be the most accurate of all of them. There are things like the Penn State equation out there, which is also good, but the Mifflin-St. Jeor is my favorite. And another question I get a lot, how many calories do you eat in a day? Me personally, mine varies between about 1,600 calories, which is that RMR, that resting metabolic rate, and 1,900 calories or so. At work, I do work a desk job. I see patients, and in my office, I'm not running around like in a hospital setting. I only do that 1 day a week. So for me, I have a pretty sedentary job. I do try to get up and walk around as much as I can. I do go to the gym, I do hike, I do things like that. So that's why I have that higher end of the spectrum around the 1,900 calorie mark per day. I've been varying between those two for the past 3 years or so with no major, pretty minimal weight fluctuations within like 1 or 2 pounds. But it just works for me. And if you're curious to see what do I do on a typical day, I did film a what I eat in a typical day video. It's a vegetarian edition. When my husband's not home, I tend to eat more on the vegetarian spectrum of things. It's just how I prefer to eat. I do like meat, but I don't need to have it. Cheese, on the other hand, is something I need to have, so you will notice a trend in my video. But if you want to see kind of what my 1,600 to 1,900 calorie per day food looks like, I will link that video below so you can check that out. So for me personally, that's my calorie mark that I try to maintain. I don't count calories, I don't food journal. After a while of food journaling, you kind of figure out what fits and what doesn't. I use vegetables very interchangeably, unless they're, the potatoes, corn, things like that tend to be a little higher in carbohydrates and therefore a little bit higher in calories. So I just know that if I eat mostly fruits and vegetables at every meal, that I'm off to a good start. And then, I always have my little treat. I try not to go overboard on things that I know are really high calorie or high fat, like ice cream, cookies, things like that. It's not to say I don't have them. You'll also see in that video that I linked below, I do have chocolate. I don't have a lot, but I do have chocolate pretty much every day. So I hope that answered some of your questions about calories, what they are, how many you should be eating. If you're really interested in determining what your calorie needs are for your specific goals and are curious to see what would that look like, what would eating that many calories look like, I will link my business website down below, and I do provide a meal plan service where I calculate all your nutrition needs with that equation that I mentioned earlier, and I give you a sample 7-day meal plan according to your current lifestyle, your eating habits, your food preferences, all encompassing how many calories you need to achieve your goal. So I hope that you found this video helpful, and I hope that you liked it. I do realize that this is a long one, but if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like my channel so far, please hit that beautiful little red subscribe button below so that you're notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching.